And we're live. Hey everybody, welcome back to Learning in Public, your daily vibe coding live stream where together we're going to be working on building in public and learning how to vibe code. My name is Ryan. I am the proprietor of cloudelephants.com, a digital services agency that intends to help business owners get more from their business with technology. We have a range of services that help people from a back office as a service, all-inclusive CRM management and operation service, which includes things like SEO, social media marketing, custom N8N configuration, CRM setup and configuration, custom website building. If it's online and digital and you need help, let me be your tech buddy. Today, I'm pretty excited to get on to the next steps. I'm a little bit late getting online today because I needed to do a little bit of configuration in the background to prepare everything for Just Lovely events, which today in our live stream I hope to get online and operational and ready for final integration with GoHighLevel on the public site so that they can start taking event bookings for their customers in Mesa, Arizona. Yesterday we were able to get the CRM set up and integrated so that custom form submissions can go across the wire and show up in the CRM if you want to see how that went and what we did. Check out episode 4. At about 50 minutes in, we successfully connected our Next.js app to GoHighLevel. Today, we're going to take what we have and clean it up a bit and prepare it for a production deployment. And that will mean some minor tweaks in vibe code. We're going to be using GPT-5 again, and then embedding the GoHighLevel calendar. That was one of the things I was setting up on the side, and I configured the domain for GoHighLevel. So if you'd like me to show you how to do that at some point, I'd be happy to do that in another of really great tutorials out there that are already existent on setting up your GoHighLevel. I tend to follow a guy named, I think his last name is Keaton Walker. He goes online by It's Keaton. Really fantastic community he's building around GoHighLevel agency owners and folks who are like me trying to help small service area businesses, small and medium service area businesses get online and better connect with their customers. But as always, because our intention again in this feed is to get this much attention from the Sun Tzu of our time, Mr. Rick Rubin, we will try to anchor to our creative stillness, or the creative stillness that's inside us, by aligning our efforts around the way of code, which is Rick Rubin's interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. And we'll read the 5th verse together of both the way of code and the Tao Te Ching together, and we'll begin our work from there. So, a lot of configuration in today's episode, but unfortunately this is a lot of what technology work ends up looking like. We're not always doing the fun part, which is the building and the composing of code, which now is its own sort of new exercise in terms of vibe code. And then I got a lot of thoughts to share on a variety of different topics today. And while we're waiting for things to build or to resolve, we'll look at a couple of interesting academic AI articles together, and we'll try to use ChatGPT and other AI tools to help us understand these advancements in AI and what they mean. So let's start with verse 5 in the way of code. Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things as they are. The vibe coder is impartial. He sees the program as it is. The space between input and mind is like a bellows. empty, yet infinitely capable. The more you allow it, the more it produces. The more you speak of it, the less you understand. Stillness runs the machine. Hold fast to the silent center. And from this version of the Tao, we'll go to 5. And we'll be able to compare these sort of line by line. I'm not going to do a deep analysis. We're just going to read together, and I'll allow you to take what you need from it, and I'll do the same, with the goal being to anchor in our own creative stillness and try to align our efforts with our intentions so that we can bring forward the creative element that's inside all of us. Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things as they are. So that's a 1 for 1. The wise are impartial. I guess in this case, the vibe coder is wise. They see people as they are. The space between heaven and earth is like a bellows, the shape changing, but not the form. The more it moves, the more it yields. More words count less. Hold fast to the center. A bellows is a thing that helps to ensure to sort of blow oxygen on a fire. So it stays the same, but as you move it, you open up a void so that you can then compress what comes out of it. Interesting, great place to start. All right, we might even jump into some fun AI-based video animations today. We have a cat in our neighborhood that I have a deep affection for, called by my kids Caesar, named after the Caesar from, not Caesar Augustus as you might think, but named after Caesar from the movie Planet of the Apes. My kids have a real affection for that movie. And then we found out it's a girl, which I guess Caesar could be a girl, right? But I thought that was fun. So let's jump into vibe coding. We've got some things set up here. We're going to embed the calendar and prepare the Just Lovely Events website for production. I've got Vercel loaded up. So one of the few things that we needed to take care of today, we're going to need to just sort of clean up the core of the app for things that don't quite exist yet on for the business. So because we don't have featured kits or kits in general set up and ready to go, let's go ahead and just hide these from the home page and the nav for now. So we're gonna just vibe code this. I have thoughts after wrapping up a full week of GPT-5. It's not as good as Claude when it comes to writing complex code. And it's really good on front end. It's probably better than other tools out there for front end code. And it's been a real champ when it comes to Shad CN and the Vercel app. So we're going to keep using it here. But I'm noting that on another app I'm working on called Robot Flower, which is an AI self-inspection app and property management tool that, like I've mentioned, I hope to be working through here on stream with you all. It's just not as good. It can't handle the complexity. It doesn't execute the tools as well as Claude does. And I would compare 5 against Sonnet, and which is the smaller version of the Claude model. And I switched yesterday. I got frustrated enough with GPT-5 in trying to refactor something that was really complex that it just wasn't working for me anymore. So I switched to Claude and was able to get to the outcome in about half the time. And the GPT-5 tool use just wasn't up to par compared to Claude, and its ability to read the code base and effectively execute the tools in Cursor, it's just not the same. So once you get to a point where there's any complexity on server-side code, you probably might be better switching to other tools for now. I've been working also on a boilerplate application that I'm hoping to queue up for one of the things that we'll be building next. And I've been using exclusively Codex, which I think is running GPT-5 under the hood. Although they do have a specialized coding model for Codex, I don't know if that switched with the GPT-5 switch. And that's been going pretty well. So it's totally possible that GPT-5 is well suited to Python and React and just can't handle other maybe less conventional programming languages. I'm using Elixir for my preferred for Robot Flower for a number of reasons, which I'd be happy to get into at another time. But long story short, Claude seems to be better, and even Claude Sonnet seems to be a better model for back-end applications of any complexity. That's general feedback. I reserve the right to change my perspective. So let's kick off this task here and say we need to prepare this application for production. Please help. Let's comment out. And this is something I actually had a hard time getting GPT-5 to do yesterday as a part of a refactory effort. Let's comment out shop kits from the header and remove the featured kits from the home page. And instead of comment out, so this should leave the code there, so we just remove the comments, and then we can add it back without changing anything because we're happy with how it looks. So let's go ahead and see how it does here. What we want to do is, and I probably need to get the DIY celebration kits removed here. On the home page, I want to update the title component. Let's see what's actually being used on the home page here. So on the home page, happy words, and so I expect this to disappear, this whole block to disappear. Happy words should be there. And then the Why Lovely, I want to change the font size on the Why Lovely cards. So Why Lovely, and let's go ahead and see where this component is coming from. So the value, the title, size, card. So I want to update this component to allow more flexibility in the size of the, so let's go to the title component. I want to get more size options on the fonts here because this is clearly not quite right. And we do have size variants, so I'll need to change that. Let's go to the page, and we'll go to the value. And we'll go to the size, let's see, medium. I believe it's just MD. So let's see what changes it made. See if it just, oh, it actually did the comments, that's good. Again, that's a minimal change. And then let's see if it did the same for the header. Excellent, okay. So we'll keep all those changes, and then when this page refreshes or re-renders, we should expect those to go away. That's great. And then I need the Why Lovely cards we need to remove that DIY celebration kit link too, because that's not going to be available quite yet. So I'll comment that out in the same, or on my own. So let's go to the, so this should allow me, party popper size 5. Let's see, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this will take us section, plan my event, view kits, and I'll just comment that out. In some cases, it's just, I don't need to have the AI handle something like that. So we'll go ahead and make sure, and I'm guessing this layout is not a full width layout. Oh man, we're back to slopes 2, link, brand card. Where is the size? I believe it's taking up the full size of the space available. So let's just see how. I wonder how many grid. Oh boy. We're talking about slow-moving machines here. Part of me wonders if any of this has to do with the animation on the homepage. So we'll just have this event planning services be there. That font seems to have gotten bigger since I updated it. So let's go to that value component. And let's see if we can just make it a small font. I also commented out the shop kits. Okay, those are still not small enough. I need the small size to be smaller. So I'll see if I can update on my own. In the block under Why Lovely on the home page, but need the card to show up as now since there is only one. Let's see if it can understand something that ambiguous. That card component, or the title component, let's go change. So let's just see. And I think the feedback was we want this changed across the board. Let's just keep it. Four, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. Let's just see how it looks. So it's updating the offerings grid. Let's see what change it made. Yeah, that's, so there should only be one column. And let's see if it should auto refresh in the background, so I'm guessing it might not have taken as a change. There we go, just compiled. Ooh, wrong card. So where's that last change? Undo. This is the same. Okay. Plan my event. Okay. Slightly better font. Let's adjust the size of the title component font stack to be smaller across the board with, yeah, let's just have it shrink. And we might want to change the font weights now that we've done that. So now we have services, portfolio, about. I've also created a short bio here. And let's make this 500 characters. That text will show up once my computer, we're dropping 40% of frames right now, so that's lovely. Okay. That's lovely. Hey, took me a second, but we got there. And I do want to add additional flourishes to the site to just have it be really cute. You'll see now that the go.justlovely events is the domain for the calendar. So this is the calendar we're going to embed on the contact page. Here is the calendar embed for the contact page. Remember, backticks is like inserting a document or a code block. Let's create a component that will make easy for me to embed calendars and change the, let's see if it has an ID. It does. By adjusting by passing through, we're going to pass through the booking calendar. Let's create a component that will make it easy for me to embed calendars by passing through the booking calendar link as a prop. So this is, we're going to generically create an embed so that we can take the calendar, and if we have 5 or 6 different calendars for, hey, this is our new lead calendar, this is our, schedule the event day and date calendar, we'll have the ability to just reuse the same code block in different areas. So let's check and see what it did with the font sizes, and hopefully that will give us a nice adjustment across the board. So yeah, slightly smaller. And event planning services, GoHighLevel. I want the GoHighLevel block to have 2 cards in it. So where's the GoHighLevel? And let's see. GoHighLevel, let's go small grid 2, large grid calls 2. So we're going to keep this consistent. So this is one of those Tailwind utility classes that abstracts a lot of the CSS grid handling behind the scenes. So we'll go grid calls to, and that will give us a little more breathing room for that font. Be able to configure that using the Tina CMS that we configured in episode 2. The way that would work, and I'm a little bit reluctant to open it up. I'll show you how to manually edit content, and wanted to note I don't have comments, or I don't have the chat showing up today again, and that's just, I think I just don't have it set up right. So I apologize for that. If you have any questions, I'll get to them in the next stream, which will be Friday, celebrating my oldest son's birthday tomorrow, Star Wars themed birthday, and we'll be able to hopefully show some of the decorations and balloon garlands, the different things that McKenna has this real gift for making as we add it to the portfolio for her work. We're still dropping about 1/3 of the frame, so I apologize if there's a lot of latency. Hopefully, if this, you know, hopefully if you, after the live stream, hopefully the video is a little bit better. So now on the contact page, let's see if it embeds the correct calendar. Again, this is a little bit slow. Cool. Let's go to the About page, and it's in the Content, not in the App directory, not in the Components directory, in the Content directory, the About page. It should be right here. When I'm not styling parties, you'll find us lives and raising tiny humans. Again, they'll be able to edit these changes, or edit this content as they see fit. So here we got the updated changes to the font sizes, which we've already reviewed, and then we'll be able to check the calendar component. So here's the calendar component that's generic. There's the title and the source that we should be able to pass through, and let's see if it propagated the right event link. So here, it is just treating it like a constant, which is fine for now. So let's see that change. All right, on the account page, there we go. So this is a little bit tall. Here. Let's remove the text on the contact page. Let's see if we can add this to the bottom. And so now we've got the embedded calendar that's directly linked to their site. I still want a little bit of height on that form. So let's go to the contact page form, which should be right here. And the interest here. Okay. Okay, I want to update this. This would be a slightly more complex edit, but not hugely complex, but time consuming enough that I'd like GPT-5 to handle it. Let's add more margin between form rows and ensure the, I believe it's just call span 2 is what I'm looking for. Select input spans the full width of the card. That might be a bit too ambiguous, but we'll see. Oops. So while it works on that, I'll just try to barely scroll, and we're still losing 30% of our frames. I don't like what that did on the contact page. It's free. No obligation. And I wonder if I can hide the logo. I might be able to change that in the configuration. Overflow hidden. Okay, let's see if we can update the configuration of the intro calendar in GoHighLevel so that it doesn't look so wonky. And I think we should just remove the image at the top. And let's see what that gives. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, so this took the full width, and I want a little bit more margin on that part of the contact form. So we'll go ahead and make that change here too. That actually was fewer changes than I was expecting. There we go. And the text area, MT, let's add some space, MY. So on an X and Y coordinate, 4 would be basically a multiple on based on font size. It's a little bit abstract, but I think that's like 32 pixels if it's base 8. So now we've got the introduction calendar. It's a little bit cleaner and it embeds no problem. Let's space the form. Let's see how it looks in mobile. Okay, that's fine. Okay. About Harville. Okay, cool. It took. Cool. Let's add the social media links in the footer for the handles. Let me just double check what I have for their, okay. Let's set this for links in the handles to point to the, for Just Lovely events on Instagram and Just Lovely events on TikTok. Go ahead and give them a follow if you're enjoying what we're building here. You'll be helping out an upstart business to get some attention and some traction. Okay, so we've configured the availability of the calendar to work with their school schedules and drop-off schedules, but it doesn't take into account Melinda's work schedule yet. That's one of the cool things about GoHighLevel is you can have your calendars defer to the settings to sort of a default calendar. So if you have a personal calendar and here's all the meetings that we have, then you can take, then the GoHighLevel will treat that as the source of truth, and it will not allow people to schedule anything that conflicts with your personal calendar, which is great. Okay, let's double check that those footer links work as we expect. And we'll go through and make sure that the site okay. And then we'll update the images. All right. And I think we should comment out the phone number because we haven't created that in GoHighLevel yet. What's this Start Now link do? Oh, it's an event request. Fantastic. Okay. Services, portfolio. All right, I think we need to make sure that, oh, I didn't actually, it's taking us to the event request page because, oh boy, it's running very slow again. Let's comment out the email and phone number in the footer and anywhere else they are on the site as they're not set up yet. Setting up the phone number will probably be something we do tomorrow on the stream, or sorry, Friday on the stream. Okay. This is looking a lot better. See how that looks on mobile. That's okay. And let's have this be a white card with a pink background on the home page. Whew, we're still losing 30% of our frames. Okay. So we can add this to chat. Man, I wonder if there's anything else I have running that's killing my memory here. Or if it's just web latency. I might have just had a bad web connection. Let's see how this goes. Thank you, Cox Internet, for your fantastic service. But I don't know if that would have to, I think this has to do with memory. I'm sure that's super fun to have me complain about. Okay, so let's update this card. And I say this because it's the one I'm referencing in the chat, to use the branded, the background should be white and the border pink. All right, so it's commented out. The email, which isn't quite ready yet, and we can swap that up. We'll just say email and phone coming soon. And I have some higher quality photos on my camera that I'll use to update. All right, let's see that calendar load up. Prefer direct contact, so the contact page. Oh, it just hasn't built yet. Or boy, oh boy, there, your email and phone coming soon. Maybe we should just comment that out. So we're just killing off sections that don't quite do service to the brand so that we can get this online today, and then we'll add the values. So does this open up the right Instagram link and the right TikTok link? So just lovely events and just lovely events. So some of this is web latency and some of this is my computer. Okay, there we go. So it does open the correct accounts. I'm raising up my desk to see if that's part of the problem. There we go. Okay, account set up, linked to the right place. Calendar. Let's check the about page. Okay, cute. And what images do we want to reference? See if it just gives me an image preview here. That might be too much for this machine right now. Okay, I like that one. That's fun. Let's copy the path and let's have it reference this photo in the services page. Okay. And then the portfolio page will update to include references to all of their portfolio projects. I think one of the things that was missing from this page, if I'm not mistaken, is oh, why is the footer not showing up? I hope I only have one footer. It's possible it's not compiled. It's also possible that my computer's running so slow, so slow. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the how it works. and hopefully that's using the branded card as well. So one of the things that we're, there we go. I want the title to be where's my title component? There we go, right here. How do I ask it to be Berkshire? Font Berkshire. And let's just see if it's passed through. Font Berkshire, that's what, I think it's just that's the argument. So we'll go to the services page, and I'll say font equals Berkshire. If my computers run a little faster, we'd get, and the tone, let's have the card background be, I think it's green, but their color's like an emerald. I'm gonna try a yellow border, see what that gives. Fun. And so I want this to be a green background with an updated font, and then these things should jump out a bit more. And then the title will have be smaller, just like we did on the other one. I don't like the yellow border. Pink. I don't even know if we have a blue. Whew, it's loud. There, pink. That looks good. Okay, not perfect, but looks good. Good enough. Full service. On the about page, I need a picture of McKenna and Melinda. So what do I want to use in the interim? Let's find an image that we like to use as a placeholder. While we're looking, let's update the portfolio page to ensure to display the title and description of each portfolio item in gallery expanded view, and to ensure the title shows under the portfolio item on the main view. So I did image that still a little bit sick, but not quite as bad. Let's go into some of these images, and I think the computer won't quite handle, yeah, we're dropping 40% of frames now, and that appears to be an internet problem. So I wonder if I'm encountering internet problems because I'm uploading. Okay, so yeah, everything's loading very slow. And the back and forth on the web is very slow too. So we'll just have to deal with this for now. We're almost done with this portion of the stream. hopefully, let's check out the portfolio changes. And this should be a minor change because this was working before and it ended up just disappearing for some reason. Do I have anything running that could be causing this problem besides? I don't. I mean, I have a lot running, but it just looks like my internet's really slow right now. Yeah, I can't even click and compile right now. So there we go, portfolio, there we go. There we go, it shows, we can toggle through. Cool, not perfect, but working. Okay, and that will just have to be what makes us happy today, because a few things, all right, it's running a little bit faster now. So on the About page, let's use all right, let's use this one. And this is just a temporary judgment call, placeholder image for the About page until we have, let's see if I can even get a photo to my desktop, and I can. All right, and then we'll get to configuring the domain. So I wonder if I can just drag About page placeholder. Can I drag in? I can. Let's go ahead and copy the path. Let's make this the lead image on the About page. This is part of the tedious back and forth in building a web presence like we did with the logo. Somebody has to go first, propose something that gets sort of dismissed or rejected, and so that people can understand what they actually want. So here we don't have, they'll probably want a well taken or professional photo of them looking very dapper so they can present themselves really effectively online. And we don't want to not get our site online waiting for a photo, so we'll have a placeholder. People might be unhappy about that in the short run, hopefully not angry, but these things should be dynamic. And the goal is to make sure that we're updating, making it so the content can be easily changed. That's something we'll probably need to do at another time, just because of how, let's just update the markdown. I'm gonna reject that change because it didn't make it in the way that will allow us to edit it in the future. It just hard-coded it. So let's also now update the portfolio page. And you'll note that before we were able to do this using ChatGPT to read an image and create the portfolio content. So we'll look at the content in the portfolio. And I believe, yeah, here's a placeholder. We'll want, where's this one of the stitch? Halloween mixer custom balloon garland for the sweetest Halloween ever. And this is going to be, I believe it's just assets that gets referenced, but we'll see. I can look at other images. Okay, and then the garden party needs its own. Okay, we have the soft stage. I need to update the title of those documents. Assets, corporate mixer. Okay, so for now, we shouldn't have any broken images on the portfolio page. Okay. And again, they should be able to manage this on their own and add a bunch of different photos. Let's see the About page. It's not rendering the asset as we expect. This updates the home page to use the brand card, which is what we asked for. So we'll double check the home page in a second. This updates the portfolio to show the title and description, which we already asked for. This adds the About page placeholder, which is now there. And Let's Talk takes you to the contact page. In the form, the embed shows up. Book Now takes you to the request event page. So we're not quite to perfect. I'll double check that home page card. This is going to cycle through the portfolio page items. No broken images. Event planning services. These are not real reviews, but we are going to get those. We have a cleaner call out here, and it's using the right card. Cool. Because everything's running so slow, I'm going to commit these changes. We'll merge them in, and we'll deploy this online. So git status, check and see what changes have been made. Git add, we're going to add all our changes. Make sure everything's been added. Commit and final preparation for deployment. Git push origin final pre-prod changes. Okay, so not the greatest of commit messages, but again, we're keeping track of our work. We're making sure it's up to date. I'll go to GitHub, I'll merge it to main, and that will automatically deploy the site. So I'm going to close all of these, and I just have to save a couple of, I just need to reference one file here, so I'm going to pull this to another window because we're going to start setting up the domain using GoDaddy and Vercel. And I wanted to show everybody how to do that, to update their DNS configuration settings so that they can have their domain point at the correct website. So when I merge my changes into main, Vercel, this is again why in episode 1 we started with V0. V0 gives you a real build and deploy workflow. That's called CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Integration usually means, all right, we're going to test the build, we're going to download all the modules, and ideally we're going to run tests. In this case, we're not running any tests because the vast majority of them are visual and we don't necessarily need any browser automation testing. Everything is static. Ultimately, though, as the app gets more complex, if there's any integrations or tests that need to be run, you can do that. So we can see online, here's the production app. It should be much faster. So the clicks should be much zippier, and you'll notice that they are. This is the only image that isn't optimized yet, so just see how quickly the difference is in how they load. Oh, it's cached, so you're not going to see that this time. And then let's see how the form embed loads, dealing with some latency. There we go. So there's the intro calendar. Somebody can schedule their own event right here. And that looks like GoHighLevel is running a little slow, but that also could be my local computer. We'll make sure that it opens the right, so it does. We'll jump right to the plan your event. So this won't work right now because it doesn't have the right variables set up in Vercel. And that's something that I'll at least walk you through. So now we have our changes online, live production build. This shop kits link actually needs to be removed, but we'll do that at a later time because it's just a small tweak. If we because we're not totally live yet, meaning we're not actively marketing, the risk is relatively low and it's a fairly small change. So if for some reason we get millions of, or even dozens of people clicking that link, one, we'll know there's a demand and there's people who are interested, but two, we're not quite ready for that yet. So it'll just be a small change that I can adjust to. And if folks want to reach out and set a calendar appointment because they want to talk to us about it, that's great too. Any lead is welcome. So let's go ahead and kill our local server, which we already did, so we can move on to the next step. So first off, we're going to want to create our DNS records in GoDaddy so that we can point the Just Lovely Events domain to its corresponding location that is going to be this web host in Vercel. So the root domain, maybe not necessarily what I want to do long term, but for now, Just Lovely Events is going to be redirected to www.justlovelyevents, and we're going to set up both to be handled by Vercel. And you'll note all of the rest of these are CNAMEs just automatically configured by GoHighLevel. So I like to have this be as short a time as possible because it makes the updates faster. So the TTL I believe stands for time to live. So it's updating that DNS record, and we're going to add a CNAME for www, and there we go. We're going to edit this to point to the right location on Vercel. And now that we've updated it. I think the lowest is 500 or 600, which is like 10 minutes. I don't want to be 6,000. If anybody knows why it needs to be okay. So we've updated the domain record for Just Lovely Events, and now I'm going to need to configure some environment variables. So let me just see if there's anything already there. And if there is, then I won't show it to you, but if there isn't, I will show it to you. Yeah, okay. So there's nothing here, but you remember yesterday we created some environment variables so we could connect to GoHighLevel. Well, this is where we'll do that. It's a relatively secure, and on the web, very few things are really fully secure. But this ends up being a good way for us to take those keys that connect to GoHighLevel and let me see what other ones we had configured here on the local. And Tina. So we're going to set up the Tina API and we're going to set up the Tina public client API key, and here I'll do this beginning part. So we have a total 5 tokens. Show you the names of them, but I will not show. The values would just be saved to enable our site in production to be able to edit the content and connect to GoHighLevel. And I might need to trigger a new build, which would just allow me to then, since I'm still dropping 40% of frames, I can run cursor, I guess. So these are these are the keys that we need to add to get the site in the first couple of episodes. So I'll just go ahead and do that off screen. And once that's ready, I might have to deploy again, which will be a great chance for me to fix that button while we wait for the GoDaddy domain to resolve. So Tina client ID, and I'll need to double check that I actually have that right. Tina token, and I believe I need to actually double check those values. And then the location ID. Let's go ahead and go to Tina. And I'll have to pull this off stream as well. Let's anchor to verse 5 here while we do something else. So let me go ahead and make sure I have the right environment set up in production for Tina. You authenticate with GitHub, or you can. If you hear any popping in the background, McKenna's blowing up. If you hear any popping in the background, McKenna's blowing up balloons. She has a little machine. So it doesn't really overfill, but it could. I would love to have a sound problem, which was too much noise. I think my mic has been fine, but it's not coming through loud on the stream, it doesn't seem. So Just Lovely Events. Let me set up view site. There's a client ID. There's a client ID.